The topic of today's session is database system concepts. The objectives of this session are to explain the term database, to differentiate between data and information, to summarize the need of a database system. In the beginning, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever analyzed how the various TV channels prepare report on the budget of the current financial year, or how they present comparative study of, say, wheat production for a decade? The answer is these channels, they employ various people who collect data. This data is then processed to retrieve desired information, which is finally presented on the television. So all this is possible because of databases and database management systems. The earliest filing system was manual. If you remember, the railway reservation system or even the banking system, all the data was being maintained on registers or in files. But now we have computerized filing system. The disadvantages of manual filing system were the manual filing system is prone to error. It is easy to damage or misplace or lose the files. It is not possible to share data when we have the manual filing system. It is also difficult to assess and maintain this data. Moreover, there is lack of security and problem of data redundancy is also there. Data redundancy refers to duplication of data. Whenever the same data is being maintained by different departments and the system being used is manual, then whenever the data has to be updated, it has to be updated in every department. If it is updated in one department and it is not updated for the other department, then data may become inconsistent. So because of duplicacy of data, this problem of data inconsistency may be there. And these problems were overcome when we started using the computerized filing system. So the benefits of computerized filing system are reduction in the storage space. When we were using the manual filing system, then we had to maintain this data in registers and files, and we had large volumes of data. So we had lot many registers and files which had to be preserved in cabinets or almirahs. But now when we have computerized system, this data can be maintained on the hard disk, which is very small in size. So the storage space is reduced. The other advantage is increased security of data. In the manual system, anybody could access that data, whereas in the computerized system, the user has to identify himself before he can access the data. He will have some password, he will have some name which is allocated to him, and only if the user knows his name and password, only then he can access this data. So the security is increased. Then it is easier to assess this data, because in the manual system we had to do everything manually. Now with the computerized system, it is the computer which is going to retrieve the data for us. So the assessing of data is being done by the computer, and it is less time consuming to manage because everything is so compact. Let us take up an example of a computer application of a small business where, say, the business is dealing in procuring some products from a supplier and then supplying these products to the customers in a retail trade. Then if the business is having a computerized filing system, then say they are having 3 applications which they are running. One is the purchasing application, other is the inventory, and third is the accounts. Now these applications, they require some files. For example, the purchasing application files are products file, suppliers files and orders file. The products file is going to have the data which is related to the products which the business organization is procuring from the suppliers and supplying to the customers. The suppliers file will have all the data pertaining to the suppliers from where the products are being procured, and orders file will have data regarding which orders have been placed, which orders have been executed and which orders are yet to be executed. Then the inventory file, inventory applications is going to require product file and inventory file. So again the product file is same as it was in the purchasing application, but the inventory file is going to maintain the data regarding what is in the stock, what is there with the organization and what needs to be procured. Then last application was the accounts application, which requires products file, shipments file and customers file. Now this product file is the same here which was there in the inventory and purchasing application also, but in addition to products file, here we require the shipments and the customers file also. So shipment file is going to maintain data regarding which products have been shipped and which products are yet to be shipped. Then customers file will have data about the customers. Now if you see all these three applications, they are using this product file. So these applications are maintaining separate product file. So the problem of data redundancy which was there in the manual filing system is still there. The product file is being duplicated in all the applications. So whenever there is duplication of data, there is a chance that data may become inconsistent. Say for example in the product file, if the inventory application updates the product file and this file is not updated in the purchasing application or in the accounts application, then the data of this product file in the three applications is inconsistent because it is different and the user doesn't know which is the correct data. One more thing I want to stress upon is what is a file. Now file is basically a collection of records. Say we have a university system where we have to maintain the records of students. So we have the students file in which the records of all the students will be maintained. The data which is required for students is the student name. We require information about his age, then the courses that the student is going to study. So this is the data which is required about any student. This data in totality is known as a record. So record will have all the data about a particular student, and in a file, in the student file, the records of all the students that are there will be there in the file. Then these data types like name, age, courses, they are known as fields. So any file, it is a collection of records, and any record, it has some fields. Now to overcome the problem of this computerized filing system, that is the problem of data redundancy or data inconsistency, the concept of databases came up. Now question is, what is a database? Database is a storehouse of interrelated data. It is an organized, integrated and shared collection of related data which is designed to meet the needs of multiple users. Now basic operations which have to be performed on a database are, we have to create new files. Whenever we have to create database for an organization, we have to create new files. Say for example, we were considering the university system only. If we are developing database for a university system, then we have to create files for the students, files for the employees who are there in the university. Then inserting new records. Say in the student file, some new students joins a course, we have to insert a new record so that the file contains information about all the students that are there in the university. Then retrieving data. So whenever we want to know something about a student, we have to retrieve that data from that file. So it should be possible to perform this operation on the database. Then updating the data. So sometimes it may be required that we have to update the data. Say for example, the student changes the course he wants to study. So then we have to update this data in the file regarding the courses that the student is studying. And last is deleting the data. It should be possible to perform this operation also on the database. Like in this case only, if a student leaves the university, then the record which refers to that student has to be deleted from this database. Now what is the difference between data and information? Sometimes we use both these terms and we interchange these terms when we are talking, but the two terms, the meaning is different. They refer to different things. Data refers to values which are actually stored in the database. Basically data refers to raw facts. Going back to the university problem only, when a student registers or he gets admission in the university, he has to fill up a form. When he is filling up the form, he is supplying data about himself. What is his name, what is his age, what are the courses he wants to study. So these raw facts, this is data. However, information refers to the meaning of those values understood by the user. Information is basically, you can say, the processed data. Once this data is there in the database, this data will be processed, only then we can retrieve the desired information. So this processed data is information. For example, we take up this case where we have collected raw facts about the production of wheat in India in the year 1999-2000. So here the wheat produced by different states is shown. You can see that Punjab produced 400 tons of wheat, whereas Rajasthan and Gujarat produced 100 tons of wheat. So this is data. But information which we can derive from this data is that Punjab produced the highest wheat in the year 1999-2000, whereas Rajasthan and Gujarat, they produced the lowest wheat in the year 1999-2000. Now we take up another example where I will like to differentiate between data and information. Let us consider the database of a bank. Database of a bank will have data regarding its customers. So the customer name, address, the amount he wants to credit, the amount he wants to debit, and the balance. These are the details which are required for every customer. So the customer record will have all these details: his name, address, credit, debit, and balance amount. So this is the data regarding the customer which is required. So say a customer name is Sanjeev and his address is given and he wants to credit 5,000 rupees. So the information which can be derived from this data is that after the customer credits an amount of 5,000 rupees, the balance is 40,000. So, the information is derived after the data has been processed. Now, the last objective of this session was what is the need of a database. Let us first look at the advantages of the database. When we have databases, then these databases are more compact compared to the file based system. We have already seen that in the filing system we had to maintain large volumes of data. The speed is also increased when we go in for databases, because now all the processing is being done by the computer. In the manual filing system, if we want to access data, everything has to be done manually and it takes a lot of time. Whereas in this case, it is done by the computer and the speed is much more. Moreover, accuracy is there because all processing is being done by the computer and there is a very little chance that there will be some error, whereas the manual system was always prone to error. And the control is centralized in case of databases, because the database is a storehouse of interrelated data and it will be in one place and all the users will be accessing the same data. They are sharing the same data. So, the data is centralized, so it is easier to maintain this data. I will take up the example of university system only to explain how we can have the centralized database. In any university, there will be different departments and some central administrative block. So, the university database will have data regarding its employees. So, that data which has details of the employees of the university is required by the administrative block as well as by the different departments which are there in the university. So, the database will be maintained in a central place. It can be maintained in the administrative block, and the database of the employees will have details of the employees like his identification number, name of the employee, his salary, designation and the nature of job. Then the departments also need all these details. So, now instead of having duplication of data or having separate files for different departments and for the centralized administrative block, we have the database in a centralized place, that is the administrative block, and the departments, they share this database with the administrative block. So, administrative section can also access this database and the departments also can access this database, and the kind of information that these departments can get from this data, that can be limited with the help of passwords and the amount of control which is to be given to the department. Say for example, in the employees database we have details of the employees' salaries also, but we want only the accounts department should be able to access this information. Other departments should not be able to access this information. So, we can restrict this access in the database systems. We can have this kind of arrangement where only the accounts department can have access to details regarding the salary of the employees and other departments are not allowed to access that kind of details. I hope you have understood the difference between data and information. Through this video, you must have understood what a database is, and I am sure all your apprehensions regarding databases and any doubts also are clear by now. Thank you.